Your name, sir?
HJ Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You folks may be seated.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. And go ahead, Ms. Miller.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Gandamuti is before the court for a violation of probation hearing. This matter was adjourned from a prior date. It is in reference to the violation of the no contact order with the victim, Allie Hodge, by Mr. Gandamuti sending her numerous emails. There is a police report that I have provided to the report. The last mental health status report, and the emails that were sent.
Uh-oh. Yeah, no contact order means even emails, text. It doesn't mean you have to be physically near. You don't get to contact the victim at all. It's not that hard.
I know that we did speak in this case. There is some other outside factors that I'm not sure how will play into the recommendation from this court, or from probation to this court on this case. Mr. Gandamuti does have his felony matter where he is scheduled for a delayed sentence or a sentencing on this Wednesday. And so I'm not sure what will happen in that matter. It's also possible, Your Honor, that Mr. Gandamuti may have another case arising from these emails. I'm not sure if that will take place. Given all of that, Your Honor, to address what has happened with these cases, probation is recommending that Mr. Gandamuti remain in custody in this case until January 5th, that the court then continue probation with release to home on a GPS tether to home confinement, that the terms of his probation all continue, that Mr. Gandamuti report to probation monthly and have a next review hearing before this court. All right, Your Honor. I believe it is January 19th. No, that is a holiday. Sorry.
That's right. It's probably 26.
January 12th.
Well, okay.
And that Mr. Gandamuti continue with mental health services. I would ask that he have a mental health evaluation with the likelihood of an inpatient program for the mental health, but a full report of that to be provided to the court going to probation.
Well, let me, before I would hear from counsel in this case, let me just say a couple of things on the record so that we're clear as to what has transpired and why we are, at least at this point, hearing this now. Ms. Polera, well, I met with Ms. Polera, and Mr. Hauser. We discussed this case in detail. And I guess the best way to put it is the sort of moving pieces here. That there's this, which is set for today. There is a hearing set, as Mr. Blair has indicated, for Wednesday. The recommendation was for the full jail time, which the court had some hesitancy in sentencing this defendant to, for the reasons I had stated to counsel in chambers. And Ms. Polera was kind enough to contact Ms. Hodge, because I also wanted to get her input as to, frankly, and I'll just say it, what was going to make her feel safer, not only just short term, but long term. Not saying that I would accede to those wishes, but I certainly wanted to take that into consideration. I also informed council that I would be, because there was an indication that there would be additional charges coming as a result of the actions that constitute the violation in this case, as well as what may constitute a violation in the circuit court case, that I wanted to make sure to contact or make an attempt to try to contact Judge Conlon's chambers regarding what specifically was going to be done on Wednesday. I will say that I contacted his judicial attorney. She was able to communicate certain things to me. The one thing that she did not know, and is something that has not yet transpired, but my understanding may very well do so, is additional charges against this defendant. That court, or at least his judicial officer, didn't seem to be aware that that possibility existed. I did inform her that my feeling was, yes, additional charges were coming forth. My primary question to that court was, what was the court intending on doing on Wednesday? Not the specifics of, but were they going to go ahead with sentencing? Once I indicated that my feeling was that it was more likely that charges were coming, she I won't say stop the conversation, but she had indicated that she was going to try to get to Judge Conlon to let him know that and properly communicate. I've been waiting a bit. They are in the middle of a homicide trial, and I do appreciate Ms. Roberts even texting with me in the manner in which she did, given those circumstances. But I've yet to hear anything back, and it's probably because Judge Conlon was unable to step off the bench so they could have the conversation. And I finally said, well, I'm not going to try to wait for that, because there's no telling what they're in the middle of. Now, having said that, anything additional from Ms. Senda?
No, Your Honor, I just did want to put on the record that, as the court stated, we were looking into additional charges. We were originally received, I think, the violation report just from Ms. Pilar earlier in September, not from Ann Arbor PD, but now in looking at the report and the emails, I do believe that further charges will be incoming once we get that report submitted to us through the proper channels through Ann Arbor. And I did contact Detective Blewett. We'll be looking into that tomorrow.
All right, very good. Is there anything you want to say?
Before we play that, on the banner, you have the National Domestic Violence Hotline phone number. It is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. Domestic violence is outrageous. If you know somebody or suspect somebody, you can get help on how to recognize it, how to bring it up, how to get that person safe. Also, if you are a victim of domestic violence, you can call there and get help. Sadly, there is a great number of women and men each year who falls victims for domestic violence, and some end up not surviving. So it's important that you get help before it is too late.
Yes, Your Honor. First off, everything that's placed on the record is a fair and accurate representation of what we've discussed so far. We have had quite a bit of a discussion as it relates to this case. I guess it would just be the position of the defense, as has been raised, that mental health is the cornerstone of this case. This Mr. Dan Mooney, since appearing before this court, and it was October of 2023. We've gone a substantial period of time without any new allegations coming forth, and that is largely attributed to Mr. Dan Mooney's willing participation in mental health treatment, the love and support of his parents who join us here today. And EJ is taking huge steps in the right direction. We do not say this to diminish the emails that were sent. Conversation with BJ, understanding that cannot happen again. And the only way that we ensure this does not happen again, as discussed before going on the record today, is for continued mental health treatment. With that, we would ask that if the court was going to continue probation and incarcerate for an additional approximately 60 days, it's January date of 2026. If a bed becomes available at an inpatient facility, and those plans are, of course, sent it over to the people and to the court, that any time may be suspended so that Mr. Dan Mooney may go and participate in that inpatient treatment. Beyond that, yes, we are certainly thankful for a recommendation that is less than the year in jail that was discussed before starting today, as given the health needs that Mr. Dan Mooney has, any additional time in jail is not movement in the right direction to ensure this does not happen again. Thank you.
All right, thank you. My first date in 2026 is the 12th. Is that correct, Ms. Blank?
The first date, Your Honor, is January 5th.
January 5th.
Correct.
And then I have another date,
January 12th.
January 12th. So I have two back-to-backs.
Correct.
All right.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. As I mentioned, Mr. Dan Mooney's mom and dad here, Dr. Dan Mooney, Mr. Dan Mooney's father, would like to address the court as to some of those mental health concerns that the court would allow.
Certainly I will hear from them.
Dr. Dan Mooney.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
thank you for giving me a few minutes of yours, your presence. First of all, I apologize what happened to Miss Hodge and her family. And by saying that is, we apologize. What happened is nothing to do and it's all which is problem. But we have concern. I don't know whether he is mentally ill patient. I'm an allergist and immunologist, and I'm in this business since 1980 in Battle Creek, Michigan. And I've seen, over my 45 years of practice, I have seen 3 generations of patients. And patients come and tell me their grandkids' problems, their kids' problems, their success stories, struggle in the man. PG is suffering from a mental health problem for the last 13 years, or more than 13 years. And this is the progress that he made is since he is with you for the last 4 years. He has been with you the last 4 years. And his house confined to the house all the time. We never let him go anywhere. And he is also compliant with everything, with what Teresa wanted to probation, everything. He reports to the probation officer and tell them. He gave up his alcohol completely. And he is doing some progress, and we never leave him alone. He's always with somebody all the time.
Yeah, but sir, he still contacted the victim. That's the reason you're here today. This must be hard on him as the father of the assailant. But at one point you also have to recognize that he is a danger. and society needs to be protected, and the victim needs to be protected. I don't hear the father acknowledging, well, he's acknowledging the mental health problem, but it seems like he doesn't acknowledge it full out.
This incident happened since I got a heart attack. And I had a surgery done, open heart surgery, and I was off. Even still, I'm recovering from it. And he could not take it, and he was under tremendous problem with this one. And then he was talking, all different things. I could not even. So I put him in the hospital for about 5 days, and they released him early. For those 2 months, he was not himself, and I was planning to put him on the rehab, and in the meantime, he was sent to jail. Your Honor, he is a mental patient, and I'm dealing with the last 13 years. And he's also an asthmatic, and he is a diabetic, pre-diabetic, and he is obese, and he is a severe, he is on CPAP all the time. And as a physician, not as a parent, I'm a physician, I have a real concern that something could happen for him while he was in the jail because of his health problems. I'm really concerned about it. I can't stress enough of that one. And I will, and also that he was never a physical threat to anyone whole his life, and he's a well-educated person. He went to University of Michigan, and he did his MBA.
Sir, your son is in this courtroom for a reason. I mean, I don't know the details of this case, but yeah, as Gigi says in the chat, if he's so bad he can't be left alone, and he still sends emails to the victim, it means no, he's somehow he can do it even with under your supervision. And if he can do that, your supervision is not enough. Yeah, allergies, asthma, CPAP. Yeah, if it's not enough, the victim needs to be protected.
Could not receive jobs because of his illness. I want him to be treated as a mental patient, and keeping him in the jail does not going to help. Please, as a parent, I'm begging your mercy to send him to institution or outpatient, not keep him in the jail. His condition could get worse. All mental health patients, his mental health diagnosis is bilateral. I mean bipolar. That means he has two brains. One is a normal, one is abnormal. And he's a schizophrenic. That means he cannot hurt anyone. Schizophrenics don't hurt anyone. They hurt.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of all schizophrenics either hurt themselves or are non-violent. But this is a DV case, sir. And I agree with inpatient, involuntary inpatient, which would mean institutionalized. Because if he can still do what he does under family supervision, then society needs to be out of reach for him. I don't know if the court can have that power at this stage. And I understand his concern. He's a dad with the natural bias he should have. But at one point in time, the safety of the victim far outweighs the risk of him.
Themselves, they don't have any confidence, and because of that, he became anxiety problems, and that is one. And I've seen mental health problems associated with the internet access is the worst thing that happened to him. Your Honor, without the internet, you would have been not in this position today. Because of the internet access, that he could do that one, he could do all these ones. He is a mental ill patient, and I beg your mercy to consider that, and is staying in the jail is not good for him as a physician. Thank you, Your Honor, for listening to my, plea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As I've indicated, there are a number of moving parts here. My understanding is, and Ms. Hodge, I would just indicate, I know that you're listening on Zoom. You are always more than welcome to address the court if that's what you would like to do. My understanding is that you did not wish to do that today. Am I correct in that, Ms. Hodge? I don't see her unmuting, but that.
She put in the chat.
Oh, she put in the chat that yes, that's correct.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, let me just say this. Maybe, doctor, you don't understand that time and time again, this court and many other courts have to deal with defendants who have mental health issues. Those mental health issues can sometimes be addressed in a safe way. Sometimes they cannot be addressed in a safe way. I think as we have gone through this process, we developed it and the manner in which we were handling this case that allowed the mental health issues to be addressed while at the same time taking into account the court's obligation to also provide some safety and assurance to the victim in this case, particularly given the nature of the charges in this matter. While certainly you may have health concerns regarding his health while in jail, I myself, and you would not know this, but I myself I have the greatest confidence in the Washtenaw County Jail that they will provide all the health care that this individual needs. And if it's not available within the confines of the jail, then any issue regarding a health concern that he may have while in custody would be addressed at one of the fine hospitals that happens to surround us here in Washtenaw County. So I'm not concerned fundamentally about his health concerns. I am concerned about his mental health concerns. But at the same time, I have to balance that against when I went through these emails, text messages, I had to balance that against what has to be the sheer terror of Miss Hodge. While certainly I would like your son to be able to go out and live his life function, I would also hope that Miss Hodge can conduct her life without fear that this could be coming at any moment. Regrettably, and it is regrettable, but where she can find some solitude is knowing exactly where the defendant is and that the defendant does not have access to spew forth the kind of garbage that he sent to her, where she has to begin to worry. And the reality for that, frankly, is in the Washtenaw County Jail. I'm sorry and feel bad that what happened to you in terms of your cardiac care happened. But the reality of that is that when that did occur, then this occurred. If I take that timing to be correct, and I don't know absolutely of that timing, but if I take that to be correct, then this happens. Which just tells me that I can't assure Ms. Hodge that she's safe. Now, I can't do that in every case. I can't do that with every victim. But the one thing that you'll get from me is I'm going to do my darndest to try to make sure that she doesn't have to worry, that she can go about and live her life. There are two fundamental lives here at stake, Mr. Dandamuni, but also Ms. Hodge. And this court is going to, at this moment, particularly given what I see here, fall to the side of Ms. Hodge. I had indicated to counsel for Mr. Dandamuni that I was likely, or at least considering, once I put all the pieces together, adjourning this out. He had brought up the issue regarding in some type of inpatient mental health care. I don't have a problem taking a look at that. I was not going to agree to that today, but certainly would give him an opportunity to examine everything, put together something that the court can look at. But in that regard, having made all of those comments, at least for a time period, Ms. Hodge is going to be able to take a breath.
Yeah.
And some may say that might be the wrong call, but that's what I'm going to do, where she's going to be able to have her freedom back and not be afraid to go from spot to spot, even if it's for a brief period of time. That's what this court's going to do. So I'm not going to sentence him today. I am going to adjourn this to January 12th, 2026 at 1 p.m.
Yes.
At 1 p.m. with the idea that will give counsel time to look into mental health care, put together something for probation and the court to look at as potential alternatives to incarceration. It certainly serves that purpose. It certainly also serves the purpose, I think, and fits in well with, quite frankly, a simple request that Ms. Hodge made. And I have to give her all the credit in the world. She could make whatever request she kind of would want to make to this court. You would appreciate if she came at this with some venom, and she just doesn't. She just asks the court for some of those simple things, and sometimes those are the hardest to deliver. But one of the things that was asked and transmitted through probation is that she would like to be able to certainly have her time with her family and travel freely with her family during the holiday season. So it just so happens that it fits in with what the court was going to do, and with what the defendant would like to present to the court. And then he can maybe, again, take a breath and relax with her family over the holidays, because one thing that she'll know is that Mr. Dandamuni is in our custody. So I'm going to adjourn it to that January 12th, 2026, 1 p.m. date. The defendant's no bond will continue.
Yeah, this is the absolute correct call. And now I've been covering, reacting, and watching Gert Simpson I've been watching Gert Simpson for years. I haven't covered his courtroom for years, but at least a year now. And when Gert Simpson uses words like Miss Raj, the terror the defendant puts her through, he doesn't say those words lightly. Now, I don't know what the actual wordings is in those texts and emails and stuff, but it is enough for Judge Simpson to use these words. And that tells me, oh, it's really bad. Really, really bad. So, So yeah, it's a necessary call for Miss Raj to be able to breathe, to be able to travel, to not be scared 24/7 of the defendant, that he will show up and do the things that he is saying in those emails and texts. And I understand the dad. I understand that he wants the best for his kid. But Miss Raj and society needs to be protected against him. There's no way of getting around it. Of course, he has physical illnesses. What did they say? With asthma, allergies, the breathing problems. But also bipolar and schizophrenic. And it seems like, even though it might not be physically violent, it is enough. Whatever he says, it's enough to induce pure terror into Miss Raj. CPAP, thank you, Gigi. So yeah. So for 2 months now, over the holidays, Miss Raj can breathe because the defendant will be no bond in jail at least until January 12th. Yeah, this is a rough one. Again, on the banner here, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, call 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. If you are a victim of DV, if you know somebody near you is a victim of DV,